You did it. Adventure dog is out the river. There are bear tracks everywhere. Big buck tracks coming down. And you want to go check them out, don't you? All right, let's do this. All right, here we go. What day is it? It's Thursday, December 19th. 12 o'clock noon. You had a house full of kids, little kids, bigger kids, grandma, and a couple dogs and all the cats. And we had our early Christmas today. Kind of fun. All right, quit shaking the house there, bear dog. Shaking the whole place. All right, where am I going to start today? Neighbor's got his equipment working outside. Shouldn't be too loud. I got the heater going anyway. The background set shouldn't be too bad considering I'm using the mic. Bear dog wants to go out. All right, hold on a minute. You want to go outside? Out there? All right, there you go. There you go. Go find your ball. Go on. Go on, folks. All right, there we go. I found that clip when Ruby was a puppy when I first got her home, and took her down to the river on the quad. It's pretty cool. Like, what a cute puppy she was. Holy shit. But anyways, what else? The opener video. You know, I've got so much content. I have so much outdoor content, wildlife videos that I've accumulated myself, filmed myself over the years, all on external drives. And I really, truly love creating things with my own content, obviously. Haven't really done it for a while, but I keep thinking I should make another opener. But then I watched that one, you know, the one that I usually put on here. How do you beat it? How do I top that? I mean, it is pretty good. I'm not patting myself on the back, but it just got lucky. Every once in a while you get lucky and you come across that one sound and you throw it on there and you put all the cool clips together and they all just kind of flow together by luck, and it's a cool thing to watch. I love watching that opener. I don't know what I could do to make it any better, right? I guess I could try. But finding music as well, when you're trying to find sounds or music to apply to any video, it's the worst part for me. I love filming, I love editing, I love linking it together, I love telling a story. But when it comes to finding this music or the sounds, it drives me insane. I don't have the patience for it, because you can go onto YouTube, into the studio, and then you can search for music that you're allowed to use on YouTube videos. And you dive in and you're sitting there. I'll bet you could sit there for a whole day of listening to little bits of each chunk of music and maybe only find 2 or 3. So no wonder they give Oscars out to the audio people in movies, right? Now, quick mention before I forget. Ben, yesterday we all went out to a chain restaurant that's been around since time began in Canada called Smitty's. I think it used to be called Smitty's Pancake House or something. All-day breakfast place, you know. I mean, it's not your highest quality food, but it's a fun place to go for the family when you got a bunch of kids who are going to make a mess every once in a while, I guess. But anyway, we're standing there at the till ready to pay. And this cool kid standing there with his grandmother at the till ahead of us. I don't know how. I'm the shits at guessing kids' ages. I don't know. What, Ben, I'll bet you might have been, what, 13? Maybe? I apologize if I got it wrong. I haven't a clue. Anyway, this boy turns around, his ball hat on. You're Steve! Yes, I am. Who are you? I'm Ben! I go, shake my hand, Ben. My dad wants to meet you. I'm like, oh yeah, well, looks like you met me first. He's such a cool kid. You just tell right away. He had such a great energy about him. So anyway, if you're Ben's dad, shout out to you. Good job raising that fine young man, Ben, in Polar Bernie. It's kind of funny. Obviously I'm anti-celebrity dog shit. It's probably too close, isn't it? I'm not into that world at all. But when you put yourself out here, people tend to see you and they recognize you in public. And I usually have somebody come up to me everywhere I go and say hi. And I don't mind at all, unless I'm eating food somewhere. But You wouldn't believe how many people come up and say hi to me, and I'll make sure they shake my hand, and they don't tell me their name. I don't get it. It's a weird phenomenon. It's like, they'll shake my hand, they'll start talking. While I'm shaking their hand, they won't stop talking, and I'm not even listening. I'm just waiting for them to stop talking so I can go, what's your name? Tell me your name. You know what I mean? So if you do see me, you want to come up and say hello, go ahead and do it. You better introduce yourself and say your name, is all I'm saying. Now, who do we got? What do we got? The mail strike's over in Canada, just so you know. Sarah was busy at work the other day getting all of your orders out the door. So I don't know how it's ended up so far for the postal workers, who I do support. And I guess they got forced back to work and extended their current contract plus a couple bucks till the springtime or something. But anyway, their fight. And I hope they win. Okay, I will save my ramble for the end. I got a few things I could ramble about at the end of today's video. Alright, now, let's get into it. Let's hear some important voices. This is titled Visit. 66-year-old Native American living here in upstate New York. Maybe Syracuse or something? Just recently lost my hearing in March. What? That sucks. Like, woke up and it's gone? Health is not that good. I've been listening to your YouTube for quite a while now. I'm glad you have closed captions. Is there any possible way to come and visit you for a couple of days? I've grown to appreciate everything you do. I used to be in the woods all the time. When my daughter passed in 2019, life took a turn for the worse. I'm shitty. Sorry to hear that, man. Sorry to hear that. I take care of my grandsons right now. I have a license that'll get me across the border. Maybe sometime, I hope. I'm sending love and prayers to you and Sarah. I know you're super busy, and I promise I won't be a bother. I just wanted to meet you before my time is up. Holy shit. You can come and visit any time you want. Are you kidding me? You never asked. Yeah, get your ass up here. If I could, I'd come over there. You kidding me? And those grandsons. What a kind email. I'm sorry to hear about your health and your hearing. Yeah, email me again. Keep me updated on your travel plans. Or I will on you if I do. I don't have any upcoming Eastern trips, but if I do, I'm coming straight to your place. Appreciate that. There's another short one titled That Day on Abernathy Road. Abernathy, T-H-Y. We had a little party and walked on a trail behind these trees. I think I saw one. This looks like a dark cedar tree behind us, but you never know. I shared it with one channel, but I thought I should send it to you too. I was about 12 or 13 years old. Thank you. Margene, North Carolina. This was near Mountain Island Lake on Granny Parker's property down from the farmhouse we rented. The year was 1973 or so. Yeah, looks like it could have been one of my old clan photos. Yeah, it's probably a tree, but don't they always look like trees and then they run away? I guess it'd be kind of tough to get everybody to do a recreation, wouldn't it? There you go. Emailed in and shared. I have no coffee. I guess I don't need a coffee this time of day, do I? Barfing rain out there. Still. Unusual feeling of fear and dread is the title of this email sent in to us. Hi, Steve. Use my name. Sue Ellen Briggs. Thank you for that, Sue. I work at a sporting goods store and often wear Dave's missing hat with a Bigfoot t-shirt. That started a conversation with a customer who told me to check out your channel. I'm so glad I did. I have experienced the overwhelming fear and dread, but not out in the woods. When I was 9 years old, I was watching In Search Of with both parents and my older brother when they showed the Patterson-Gimlin film. I felt fear and panic to the point of getting up and leaving the room. I never felt that level of fear in my life, and I had no idea why, and I still don't. Both my mom and dad tried to reassure me and told me it wasn't real. They never did believe the Sabe are real. I grew up on 6 acres in Washington State, just south of Mount St. Helens, with quite a bit of woods to play in. A current friend, who is a fellow nowhere, thinks I might have had contact. I don't remember. All I know is the fear persisted for a number of years, and I was terrified to look out my window at night despite never seeing anything. Wanting to overcome this fear, I began looking into the subject, and I'm no longer afraid, just curious. I've never seen a Sabe that I know of, but I have heard them. I was in college in Walla Walla, Washington, and my boyfriend and his brother and I decided to go camping at Wallowa Lake. We got a late start, and about halfway there, we decided to pull into a camp in the Umatilla National Forest to get some sleep. There was one RV and a car with someone asleep behind the wheel, already there, but all was quiet. We pitched the tent and went to sleep. I woke up to my boyfriend and his brother saying something was walking around the tent. I didn't hear that, but in my half-asleep state, I heard what my brain registered as people cheering in a stadium. That woke me up fully because it dawned on me we were in the middle of the forest, so it couldn't be. I listened intently and could hear whoops or calls of individuals echoing from one ridge to another. One would call and another would answer. I think there were at least 3 of them. These were not elk or a cougar or any of the known animal, or any other known animal. I spent enough time in the woods and I'm familiar with the calls made by them, and it seemed to me this was an actual conversation. Elk and cougar don't do that I know of. By this time, we were all freaked out and stuffed the tent and our gear in the trunk and took off. Got a motel room in the next town for the rest of the night. It was probably for the best, as a storm was brewing and resulted in intense lightning and thunder that night. Well, that's my story. Thank you for all you do and for bringing us, the people, together. I love hearing other people's stories, and I've definitely found some piece to my puzzle. One I have spent my life putting together, and will continue. Never quit. There you go. Welcome to the club. Sue Ellen Briggs, appreciate your email. You know what you heard. You know what you heard. You lived right alongside them. That's obvious. Mount St. Helens area. Bingo. You know, here's another funny one. I'm going to share something. I guess I don't really... I don't share every single thing that happens to me. But I remember... And this just reminded me of a dream I had a handful of years ago. What just happened a handful of nights ago. So, you know, when a lot of us have had weird dreams that are very realistic, that absolutely relate to what we talk about here, predominant topic we talk about here. And I remember when I was somewhat looking, intentionally looking for these people, when I lived near Mount Currie in Pemberton. I remember I had a dream. I was on a sloped road, old rundown house or shack, farmhouse, on the lower side of the road, long uncut grass around it like it had been abandoned for a long time. And there was a sloping back field to that place and then surrounding timber. Sun was behind me. See, this is a dream that I remember every single second of. It's really weird. And there was 3 of these people there looking at me. And I remember feeling something to the effect of quit doing what you're doing or something like that. And I remember being absolutely amazed at how vivid I could see the details and the faces and the eyes and the whole 9 yards of these forest people, we'll call them, right? And the dream never left me. And I was always like, that was like way too real to be just a dream, I think. And I never forgot it. And I've had how many dreams since, and I've never been able to relay that kind of detail or envision the scene in my head as clear as day as I had that particular dream. Will happen again. It happened to me last week. How long have I been home? A couple days? So, as you know, I was hunting in my zone there. And I remember at night I had a dream or a vision of a mottled gray, meaning not just a gray color like a battleship gray or something, but mottled like gray hair, gray beard and dark hair mixture, mottled gray. And and like a very tanned face. One being squatting down in the timber looking at me. And I remember it was so vivid, but I kind of remember being in a half dream state of, oh shit, just leave me alone. I remember thinking, nope, I remember in my head during that time I was going, nope, no way. Not into this. I'm here to go hunting. Odd, right? That just happened while I was hunting this last trip. But I'm right in the middle of where it's been going down for a long time, and I have had things happen there numerous times over the years. And as well, not too far away from there is where a couple of mountain bikers ran into a large, upright, gray being they thought was a massive football player in a ghillie suit. Or no, gray hoodie. They thought it was a massive, huge, giant football player in a gray hoodie and track pants, but then they figured it wasn't. It was a hair-covered gray being. Anyways, blah, blah, whatever, right? I thought I'd share that with you guys, because I know a lot of people could relate. I just don't ever feel the need to go, oh, I had something happen again. You know what I mean? I just accept it and carry on. Next, wife loves your YouTube channel. All right. Hello, sir. You can say my email address and name. Huh? I don't normally share email addresses. My wife is a big fan of your YouTube channel, watching it all the time. She's disabled, unable to drive, and has to use a wheelchair when I take her to a doctor's appointments. She doesn't go outside due to her illnesses. Your show helps her get through the day, which at this point is extremely rough. She loves to see your hunting and fishing locations. She tells me every day about what you've spoken of on your show and some of the emails you read. She would be extremely happy if you could wish her a Merry Christmas. Her name is Marlene P. in Sacramento, California, USA. Much appreciated, Joseph P. And there you go. We wish you a Merry Christmas, Marlene. All right? Every single one of us here, 100%. Sad to hear about your physical health. I'm sure that you're probably going to get about 10 or 20,000 prayers before dinner time tonight, praying for you to hope you get better. So Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Kind of a different handful of emails today, isn't it? As we all sit here cracking them open together. Various stories and an apology. Dear Steve and the How to Hunt family, I hope this message finds you well and ready for your holiday. I must apologize for mentioning that my story and Jody's story were because folklore in South Georgia. I was and still recovering from the stroke I had July 23. I had a conversation with my good friend John and my cousin Greg in the hospital, and I wrote the email out considering the information as such. I cannot justify my decision to list the information as such. My mind has been on reset by the stroke, and I can tell you that all my thoughts and knowledge is still in my head. Accessing my stored information is rather difficult. Doing so requires great effort, but I have other stories from my childhood and my early adulthood that may be of interest. I grew up in Western North Carolina and Kernsville, North Carolina. The story of the young lady who grew up there kicked me as I remembered almost everything she said. We were all sitting close together on the bus when she recounted the same story about the tracks in the snow leading up to her house and her father blaming her for the tracks. Also, we would play with the kids in our neighborhood in the woods, and we once built a fort in some trees that had been tied together. We found the sticks from the fort in our backyard as if they had been thrown out from the fort, which were 50 yards in the woods from our backyard. During the year, our trash was dumped out. My dad built a box for the cans, but the garbage was always gone through, and the paper plates always licked off. I know because my brothers and I had to pick it up. There would be a dead bird on the back porch laid out. I thought it might be a cat. There weren't any cats in the area. Just coincidence, maybe, maybe not. Just food for thought. Sincerely, Mark D. McCall, PhD. Okay, Mark, appreciate that, man. So I'm guessing you sent us email before, right? It's tough. It's real for me anyways. It's tough for me to recall other emails sent in and then a trailing email sent in later on. All right. This one started off a little confusing, so I stopped recording for a second because you went off with about, I don't know how many YouTube channels, one after the other. And I thought you might have been going on promoting rant. So, excuse me. I'm going to skip the handful of YouTube channels you laid down. It's just not my style. This is not titled, and then you carried on, you say, not about Sabe this email. Keep up the awesome work and thanks. Darius is correct too. I'm banned from commenting on your YouTube. Elon and the occupation running America for 91 years has intentionally been poisoning everything to keep everybody from using their abilities. All American administrations are in on the scheme. USS Liberty survivor interview on Candace Owens show validated much I don't want to say online. But these current humans are not who they are claiming to be. We should have known by the murderous crusades, follow or die scenario, and genocide, followed by the resets. Intention is powerful, and air is a medium that contains the 0-point energy safe for Earth and humans. I think China's new reactor is using it. No buildup of heat. It's amazing. On Sabe, that scream had me pull over to assist with what I thought was a person being mutilated. By the time I got to the tree line, another scream, I stopped and I said, I won't be the third screaming if I continue. It vibrates as if you're in front of a loudspeaker. The most freaky thing. Yes, there's angry elf that comes out of a porthole. I don't conjure anything. It froze me in terror. I can't do anything but shut my eyes. I screamed in my head for assistance. Opened my eyes. It was doing something like casting to my forehead. I shut my eyes again and screamed in my head for the passed on loved one to please get it out. It finally popped into millions of particles. Tan, E.T., in Forest Preserve, Foster Avenue, and Cicero. I thought it was a child in a costume. Mine spoke like it wanted to trick me and steal my soul. Everything was slow motion, creepy. Stay awesome. Thanks for your help to all. No vaccines are legit. Dragon Throne Dave, Chicago occupied America. Hey man, Dave, your email seemed a little bit out there, but I think we got the gist of your point. Share it across to the people. Different kind of day today, isn't it? Here we go. What do we got? It's a long one. I'm going in. Bigfoot in central WI. Wisconsin? It's not Wyoming. Wisconsin? Don't forget I'm Canadian. Multiple stories. Hey Steve, my name is Michelle. My story and interaction started as a kid, but I didn't know it. My brother and I thought we lived in a haunted house and had strange things/sounds happen at night on a regular basis. But what I think about the most are the following. When I was 12, in 1987, my great-uncle was in the hospital, and my great-grandma, who lived 2 blocks away, was taking care of his cocker spaniel named Taffy. I love Taffy, and all animals, and volunteered to take her for long walks as often as possible. I took her to a neighborhood a few blocks away that was near the Wisconsin River, Wood County, and had a couple of trails through the woods. I let her off the leash to go run around, explore, and be free, knowing that I was her favorite person. Besides, my great-uncle, and always came when I called. I noticed an old tree fort with boards nailed to the trunk of the tree like a ladder, and an area over a little inlet creek that used to have a small bridge over it. For a brief second, I saw a silhouette of a tall man across the creek, but when I looked again, he was gone. I started getting a bad feeling and felt like I was being watched, so I called Taffy repeatedly and she didn't come. I couldn't even see or hear her anywhere, and I started to freak out on the inside. However, on the outside, I was a pretty calm person and kind of a nerd who watched a lot of Star Trek. So, for some reason, I decided to use my imagination and use my bracelet as a communicator to call back to my house, i.e. bedroom, and notify the house that I was trying to find Taffy in the woods, but that I should be home soon. However, if I wasn't home soon, to send help. Immediately, Taffy came running around a bush straight to me, and I walked her back to my grandma's house. The next day, my grandma said that she heard a knocking on her back door the night before, the door I used to take the dog in and out of. And at there's a little bit of a typo here. And at she thought it was teenagers messing around with her. But every time she looked, no one was there. I asked her if she was scared, and she said that she thought the Lord might be telling her that her train was coming soon. I told her not to talk like that. And P.S. she didn't pass until many years later. And after I got married, I moved away, but when I got divorced, my 2 kids and I temporarily moved back into my parents' house. I was also going to a tech college trying to get a degree. One night I fell asleep with the lights on while studying, and I heard EB, or it's quotation, capital E, small b. Capital E, small b. So, end quote. So however you want to pronounce that. In a deep male voice. Well, my mom's name is Deb. Oh, so I'm thinking you must have meant Eb. My mom's name is Deb, and I thought maybe my dad threw out his back or something and was trying to call to my mom for help. So I ran to the stairs to go help my dad, and before I got halfway down, I could hear my dad snoring loudly from their bedroom. I figured I was dreaming, shut off my light, and tried to go to sleep, but a minute later it sounded like a man was puking outside my window. It was summer, and I had the window open, just a screen, no fan or air conditioner, and I looked outside down the street but couldn't see anyone. Note, there were a few trees around the house, and the roof was pitched in a few places. The street lights caused quite a few shadows. I decided to ignore what I'd heard and try to go to sleep. About a minute later, I heard something talking in like gibberish or a different language. So I turned on my light and grabbed the Bible from under my bed and started praying. The voice still continued. So I, a grown woman at this point, went downstairs to my parents' room and woke my mom and told her there was something in my room. She asked if it was a bat, and I told her no, but that I wanted her to come and listen to it. I didn't want her to think I was crazy. She came up to my room, and of course nothing happened after that. And I wouldn't let her go downstairs because I said as soon as she leaves, it'll probably happen again. She fell asleep on my bed, and I stayed awake almost until sunrise. To this day, I have no idea what that was or if those events were related, but I can't help but wonder if it could be Bigfoot related and if something was following me from my favorite woods. Today, most of that area was cleared to make new houses. No trails are left, and it's all private property. In 2003, I bought a house 5 blocks away, and in 2012, I was dating a Native American who hasn't since passed away, but we would go for walks in the woods quite often in an area called Hemlock, Wood County, between Marshfield and Rapids. I worked in Marshfield, and on my way home would sometimes go hiking before going home. That's a raven out the window, if you're hearing something odd. One afternoon, I went to a new area across the street from a house. It might have been private property. But I saw a strange stick formation that I wanted to go to look at. Not a teepee stick structure, but more like an erector set made out of smaller sticks and all around a tree and propped up in places around the tree. It was so interesting, and I wondered if children had been playing there, but then I realized one medium gust of wind could probably knock most of it down, and wondered how it stayed up. I took a stick off of it, and immediately felt like I shouldn't touch it, and should put it back, so I did. Then I left, and drove 20 miles or so home. When I got home, I decided to check for ticks and take a shower. While I was in the shower, someone knocked on the bathroom window, and assuming it was my boyfriend outside smoking, told him just to come in because I left the back door open. A couple minutes later, knocked 3 times on the window again, and I jokingly said, "I'm not opening the window, you perv, just come in the house." I was in a clawfoot tub and decided I could cover up with the curtain and open the window. While my hand was on the windowsill and I was looking into my backyard, not seeing anything amiss, in broad daylight, it knocked on my window 3 times and no one was there. I freaked, closed the window, rinsed my hair, and got out of the bathroom and into my bedroom and grabbed the phone. I don't know who to call, but I called my boyfriend and asked if he was here. He apologized for running late, but had some excuse, and he said he would be on his way soon. I told him what happened, and he wasn't surprised because in his culture, they know things can follow you home. Note, I invited this thing into my house a couple of times. Luckily, nothing happened after that, but I do have my home blessed regularly where I live. I have more stories of things that happened to me up in the UP of Michigan, but that's for another time. Just trying to put pieces of this puzzle together. Thanks for listening. Michigan. Oh, is it a typo? Or did you move? Because in the title it says WI. Bigfoot in central WI. And then you said Michigan at the end. Whatever. There you go. Knocking on the window. Nothing there. Yeah, monkeys and gorillas do that shit all the time in Michigan, right? All the time. Kidding. There's a bit of an explosion out there somewhere. Huh. Alright, I'm going to read one more. One more. Man, it's raining out there. Holy shit. Bigfoot with dog puzzle piece maybe I heard. The tranquil community of Whitehall in upstate New York became the center of Bigfoot mania. The Adirondacks, where 6 million acres of brooding woodlands and unsettled mountains stretched out larger than several New England states, have a rich mythology of beastly stories dating back hundreds of years. Algonquin tribes tell tales of the Kiwak, a massive fur-covered creature who can pierce the soul with his glowing eyes and freeze a man's heart with a piercing scream. Bigfoot lore is ingrained in this land. The owner of the Skeene Valley Country Club was on his electric cart before dawn with his trusty dog checking on the golf course sprinklers and maintaining the greens. As he reported, when he reached the clubhouse, he came upon a 7-foot Bigfoot with massive shoulders and long arms standing on hole number 1 tee box. He stated that the creature stared at his dog with glowing red eyes and it seemed to have lasers or glowing dots or beams when he was looking at the dog and only interested with the dog and not the human. The terrified dog cowered down in the cart. Within seconds, the Sasquatch turned and ran, crashing into the woods. Mr. Sparks was so stunned by the encounter, he used to his advantage. And an email. Random odd one. There's a bunch of odd, not so common emails here today, isn't there? All right, I'm gonna go one more. One more. Bigfoot. Anonymously anonymous. It's the title of this email. Aloha Steve. Name. Anonymously anonymous code. Name. Butter Tarts. What am I reading today? Blessings and prayers, condolences, all universe. I know nothing, comma, upper level, equals military. We had a classic 1911 45. It wasn't for any enemy. Bigfoot, Sasquatch, Sabe. A-O-N sounded like Aonen, spelled Aloin. Aonen. See YouTube podcast. What are we getting? What are we doing here? 1964, 13 going on 14, Lake Ontario and St. Lawrence River, northwest of the Adirondacks, the month of May, Mother's Day time. I went out in some little wooded areas to pick up some spring flowers for my mother. On my way back home above a newly plowed field, I was walking west towards a farmer's field road and a little patch of woods. Interestingly, as I approached the small patch of woods, I smelled a 1/3 skunk smell, and I believe skunks have a 100% smell in any size. Right after the 1/3 skunk smell, the hair on my arm stood up, followed by other hairs, and my mind is going, something's not right here. As I was still walking towards the edge of the patch of woods, my mind was answering a message. I do not remember now receiving any message, and my mind was saying, I can't walk through that plowed field, as the furrows of 1/2 my height. I'm just needing to get to the farmer's tractor path up ahead and down the hill away from this area. No harm. Being a recent 12-year-old graduate of Sunday school, I knew the Lord's Prayer by heart and used it. I got home, but while walking into the town, my mind says, suspect there is no one to report this story to. Bigfoot 2. Secondhand stories. Canadian Buddy reported that when a young fellow mine truck driver viewed a Sasquatch on a road between Ontario and Manitoba. Years later, his family reported an adult and child Sasquatch were viewed and walking up the mountains west of Calgary. Bigfoot 3. Friends reported years ago, but computer tablet time, they had left Detroit, Oregon. And the husband said to the wife, do you see that? And the wife responded, no, I was reading a book in my computer tablet. What do you see, honey? Oh, a Bigfoot. Steve, presently, I don't know what to believe. I'm in my young mid-70s. There's so many bad www Bigfoot sites from X to horror stories. One guy emailed, One guy I emailed, he emailed me back, never to email him again. He had advertised he could use some fiction stories, even asking high schoolers to make up Sasquatch stories, and he would publish them. I had asked, please disclose in your podcast that any fiction story was to be read. Side notes, a gal in the Iditarod dog sled race said, one big moon night, temperatures 20 to 40 degrees below zero, she spotted up ahead maybe a 7-foot-tall, skinny, scary Bigfoot. And to her amazement and the dog team, as they raced by it, it was partly suited up in maybe space saran wrap, testing spacesuit maybe. You mentioned of the Darius J. Wright was something you wanted to look into, and I did. And I remember years ago, 50, 55, I read up on a party saying the same things. That paragraph is right out to lunch. Sorry. Don't know. I won't even read it. Didn't make sense. All right. I think that's good. That's good. All right, man. I appreciate the email. It was a little confusing, all right? A little confusing. A few of your paragraphs, a little confusing, but I got the gist of it. This has been your average day here on the channel. I'll tell you what. Hasn't been your average day here today. Now, what am I going to do? I got a lot to do. I'm going to get ripping. I got to get this. I wonder how long it would take to get this computer fixed. I had these racing stripes on the side and the bottom of the screen from whatever I did to it. And we have to go away on holidays, and I don't want to buy another one. So, I guess I should probably whip into that geek store and see if they can fix it before we go. What else? Emails, got to get that done. I have to build my new website, my new how to hunt website I want to build and really put a lot of energy into to help people. I do believe it's a good time to do that. I don't know why. I really don't know why. It's just my gut telling me it's time. It's time to really do something with the How to Hunt website and get people educated up on how and what to do out in the real world. Also, one quick note, I really hope that, I really sincerely hope that this crew of people here is playing a big role in kicking mainstream so-called news to the curb. I know that their ratings are really, really tanking, especially since this last American election. And I just really hope that this channel has been encouraging tens of thousands of people to absolutely ignore any and all mainstream news outlets at all costs and only listen to each other. I really sincerely hope so. All right. That's a big important topic I was hoping to remember to bring up here. But anyway, my brain's scrambling. Those emails today were all a little bit left, right, center, up and down, and all over the shop, right? Nature of the beast. Everybody gets hurt no matter what. Maybe it's just one of those days where I'm not seeing and hearing properly. Who knows? But anyways, enough bambling. I don't think I had anything else important I needed to get across today. I really want to make sure that Ben got a shout out on his dad, though. And I'll hopefully be back tomorrow with a whole new, fresh lineup of voices to be heard. There's so many. So many, and I'm glad they keep coming in. Share my story, howtohunt.com. Get it into me. Get it in. Get your truth, share it, alright? Don't be scared. And I will be back.